particular model, the Latitude E6400, which is fairly one of the current models, has each one of these drivers, and each one of these get deployed and injected at the time of injection. So pretty much when you install like a DVD from shrink wrap Windows 7 package, throw that in there, it's going to give you the plug and play, right? The interesting thing about MDT is that it injects all of the drivers inside of this folder before that plug and play actually happens. So how that works is it only gets to plug and play these. So that could, eliminate a whole lot of blue screens of death, that kind of thing when you're deploying your hardware, and that's usually generally pretty nice. We even have old models like a OptiPlex 380 in here, and that still works. Anything that Windows 7 can run on, I think we have it. So right now, we're starting some of the newer models with the OptiPlex 780 and the OptiPlex, what is that? 7010, right? The new Fandango models. And those all come with 8 gigs of RAM, so we're not even going to bother going down a 32-bit route, so I don't need to make a new software driver tree up above here. So, how do I figure that out? What I need to do is I need to drop out of here and run a command line. Y'all see that? I want to run a command called WMIC. M-I-C-K-E-Y.
M-O-U-S-E.
See, you could not do that. So where's my command that I had here? There it is. I can't remember it, so that's why I got it written down. Get name. CS product, get name. Blow it up a little for you. How did that work? Magnifier is not working. Anyways, so if I run that, it tells me right away it's a Latitude D430. No matter what I run this on any Windows 7 machine, if I run that command, it's going to give me exactly what the name of the computer is. Let's run it again, and let's say get vendor. So you want to run this on all of your machines and make sure you spell out that driver folder right, so when it instantiates, it's going to get it right. Questions about that? Very, very, very important. All right, so let's go back to the virtual here.
When you name your folders, it's got to be exactly the same.
It's got to be exactly the way it comes out there, because that's how Microsoft is going to instantiate that driver instantiation in these folders.
Spaces, periods, capitals.
Yes, make sure the capitals are exactly right too. So say Latitude or OptiPlex, this one here, yeah. OptiCapitalPlex, make sure that is correct. So yeah, notice I don't have any Lenovo's in there. We don't support that right now, but if that happens, I can simply add a Lenovo driver folder, import the drivers in that folder, and it'll find it. All right, how does that also work? You do need to have a database installed with it, and this is where it figures out where the makes and models are too. So notice that each one of these mimics each one of these up here. All right, so therefore, when it actually calls for the database out for E6410, it will get the right folder, which is, goodness, right there.
So Jer, is this
Yes.
one step higher than what you had done before, where we knew that you could go to Dell and get the CAD of all the drivers that went with the machine, and then you had a machine folder, but were you at that point picking which one, where now you're having your process pick the one by matching?
That's, the question was, is that, why am I downloading the drivers in individual folders? Is that correct?
No, but you were doing that before because you'd go and get that CAD and
Yes.
it went with the machine, but so I'm asking, is this really just the same as what you were doing before, you just have all these new machines now, or is this different where it's picking which machine is actually plugged in? Or are you still telling it which machine?
No, I'm not telling any of these machines what it is.
Okay.
I will show you the slides, what actually will look like when you're deploying the machine, and it'll be pretty clear that I don't tell it what kind of hardware it is. It's using artificial plug-and-play intelligence with that WMIC,
Okay.
and it's instantiating and picking the right ones automatically for us. So as long as that we get these folders named right, it'll pick the right drivers. Yes?
Hey, Jer, how are you separating 32 and 64-bit drivers?
How do I?
Because in the cabs, a lot of times they're mixed.
You're right, and I don't really care. I just wanted to make sure that I got the driver set in individual folders, so that if I say 32 bits gone, I still have a copy of my 64-bit.
Okay, so your Optiplex 780 on both sides is basically the same
Yes.
driver sets.
That's right.
You're not separating
That's
them
right.
out.
But if I happen to find a 64-bit driver that's, later on when I'm testing and didn't install right, well, I can drop a 64-bit
Drop it in
extra.
there, right.
There you go. So it gives you that extra layer of, security too. Good question. All right, where was I going with the database? Make and model. Yes, make sure you have the database done. You can actually install SQL 2012 if you wanted to make MDT hash with this. I'm just using SQL Express, the free version. Single processor up to only 4 gigs of RAM. What's it? 1 gig of RAM, I think it is, with the SQL Express. So, but again, MDT is not doing a whole lot. It's figuring out what the make and model is. That's pretty much it. So you don't need a whole lot of fancy stuff to run SQL on your MDT server. But if you wanted to daisy chain and do some other things besides MDT on this box, well, you may want a robust SQL license. Cost of a SQL license right now, if you're not agency 207, is about $180. Survey says that, maybe. Don't quote me to that. I'm assuming all of you are agency 207. So if you go, yeah, and if you don't, you can pay for it through Select or Campus License.
$50 a head.
Right. So that's how that works. Questions on that? I want to just glean over how MDT works, because we've done that before. Let's get out of that. Yeah. And switch back to the real computer. And yeah, MDT. All right. So this is an important slide that I wanted to convene about MDT, is that it is able to make exact replicas of one machine over the other. And here's the cool thing, is that MDT allows you to do in-flight manipulations too. So say tomorrow we got this puzzle piece which makes all these nice cookies. I wanted to take this peg off. I could do that. And each one of the cookies would come out without the peg, without doing too much manipulation to your original image. So that's kind of nice. Unlike the Ghost or your traditional sector-based image creation tools, you have to make a whole new image, which can be time-consuming. So having a nice auditable image too is kind of nice to have disaster recovery procedures. This way you have a baseline which recovery you can get to. So say you got a virus that comes out tomorrow and obliterates your whole fleet of computers, well, you have this nice machine tool to re-engineer all your images. And another cool thing about MDT is that it's absolutely free for anybody and everybody, no matter if you're agency 207 or not. So for those that are looking for an image deployment tool, available today for free. Definitely download it, try it. Do need to download the Windows automated installation kit. You got to have PowerShell on your server. You can actually install this on top of a Windows 7 machine and run MDT out of that. What I recommend is that you get a Windows 2008 R2 server x64 so that you can deploy x64 based images. If you don't get 64-bit, you'll only be downloading push out 32-bit. So that's kind of important. Question, dude.
That was the question. It's
Oh, good.
basically like what the restrictions are based on the hardware that you put
That's right.
MDT on.
Yeah.
And is there any restriction just in general on what it can run on? Or it's just what it can push out is the restriction?
Just what it can push out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually installed MDT in a virtual. I think Sean's doing virtual, doing some Hyper-V and running MDT through that. Advantage with Hyper-V, which I have an experiment with, is that you get snapshots. So if you screw things up in your image, you can just roll back, which is really fast. And like you deploy something, well, you screwed up, or now you got to redeploy it again, which is what I have to do. Kind of time consuming, but it is what it is.
And a plus side with Hyper-V is there's no drivers.
No drivers
So-
too. And that could be a bad thing too, is that there's really no USB instantiation, so your miles may vary.
And Hyper-V does not work with USB on the host system. So if you're plugging in a device to like your tokens or something to test them and whatnot, they don't work.
So make sure you realize it. All right. So yeah, we went through the demo, and so we deployed our image, and now we want to try to maintenance it. So say this machine gets stale and updates need to be